Welcome everybody. Good afternoon. I am Sara Rodriguez, as you all know, and today we are very excited because it is our last professional development session before our completion ceremony or closing ceremony in a couple of weeks. So I want to take time to also thank all of our fellows for not only for attending today and giving us, as always, your Friday afternoon every other week, but for the great job you've done submitting your final portfolios. To those of you who already did, today is our official deadline. I know it's also the day for our campus, and you probably are barely breathing after finals, but great job, everybody. You will get your feedback and all the other information. We have a lot going on for the closing ceremony and a couple of other things in Blackboard, but we will take a few minutes at the end of the session for some housekeeping. So let's begin. Today is building a professional network. That's the topic for today's webinar. And our guest speakers, big welcome to Professor Kathleen Carrigan and Dr. Watkins, who will be our guest speakers for the day. The topics are building networks at the community college level, and that's Professor Kathy Carrigan, who's an instructor at the chemistry department at Portland Community College, and Dr. Watkins, residential faculty for the mathematics and computer science department at Glendale Community College, and she will be addressing the topic of networking for your future. So we thank you both for being here, for your time, and for your expertise. So let's begin. And our first speaker is Professor Kathy Carrigan, who is very excited and shared with us just a few moments ago that she's about to become a grandma. So good. She is a chemistry instructor at Portland Community College in Oregon, and some of her administrative roles, as you can see in this slide, she's very committed to the Aspire Alliance as a representative of the two-year college chemistry consortium, which is 2YC3, and the liaison representative for the ASC, which many of you are familiar with, a division of chemical education, among other interesting activities. She received her master's in physical organic chemistry from the University of Colorado Boulder and her bachelor's of science in chemistry from Bridgewater State University. As you know, we include a small little blurb of her institution and some other facts of our speaker. So we want to welcome you. And also, let me just say that she is a retired professor, but she couldn't get enough. So she came back and she is teaching online chemistry. And we want to welcome you. Thank you, Professor Carrigan. You may begin.
Thank you. Let me first begin by saying welcome to everyone. And I will please share my email address with anyone who's interested at all in chemistry or in just chatting and getting more information from me. I'm happy to share
We
that.
do have it in one of the slides at the end. Yes.
Cool. So please, anyone, please feel free to pop me an email. So let me tell you a little bit about the 2YC3, the two-year college chemistry consortium. We provide a forum for chemistry educators to enhance student learning through various professional development conferences. Please, I tried to move the slide myself. Yes, thank you. Okay, so we are a division of the chemical education of the American Chemical Society. So we're kind of official that way, although we're a pretty casual group. And the committee name is Committee on Two-Year College, Committee on Chemistry and the Two-Year Colleges. And we're designated as, you know, holding 3 or 4 2YC3 conferences per year. And we're all on our own dollar. So supported by other community college teachers. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have been able to offer conferences across the country for many years, 4 to 3. Last year, we were able to do it, 2 big conferences via Zoom. So it was really, we are still able to keep going. I wanted to highlight the 2 things that I think are important and relevant to what we're doing right here today is we provide a network of chemical education colleagues for improving two-year college teaching. And we're about to get together and change some of our wording and say, for teaching chemistry in the first 2 years of college, so as not to limit us to a 2-year, only community colleges. You can read the rest, but the second one I want to draw to your attention is a mechanism. So we are a mechanism for 2-year college chemistry teachers to get together, to connect with each other, to network, to help each other with jobs. And I'm going to be talking about that moving forward. Next slide, please. I just want to do this to show you a picture of who we are, just to say we're all normal people, just like you. I mean, people think chemistry and they kind of cringe a little bit. So here, next slide, please. So that's 6 and 6 is 12. So that's 12 of us. And we did have a conference in Hawaii a few years back. And personally, I think we're due for another. We are looking at Puerto Rico for 2023, I think. We have some opportunity there. And just because we talk about how to teach chemistry better doesn't mean if you're physics or math or whatever, you can come to any conference that happens to be near you or across the country, because it's all about teaching better, teaching science better. So the doors are open to anyone. Next slide, please. So this next few slides are basically my personal opinion on what I think are the most important aspects of professional networking. I haven't done any research on this except for having it be a lived experience for me for the last years. Okay, next slide, please. So why is professional networking particularly important for community college professionals? So this is a little bit of my story. Through the 2YC3 years ago, I met someone who introduced my colleague, my colleague and I, to the CCWCS. Don't ask me to say what that is, NSF grant. So we got involved in this grant and we hosted a 2 or 3 day, we went from 2 and then increased it to a day, workshop on how to teach online chemistry. He and I developed this class back in 2008, and with labs at home using a company and a vendor. And we taught this and hosted this workshop for about 5 to 6 years. I can't remember exactly how long it went. And we had 24 teachers from across the country come. Yeah, it was 3 years in Atlanta and 2 years in Colorado. So it's a wonderful way to network with, 125 other teachers in chemistry from across the country. And then through CCWCS, I was able to attend a 1-week forensic chemistry in beautiful New England, where now I have some good friends in that area. Oh, by the way, I'm from that area too, so I have new good friends in that area. And I've been most fortunate enough to accidentally stumble into this Aspire grant, which is just one of the best things that I've been associated with in my non-direct teaching role at my community college. So I so believe in increasing equity in the STEM fields. Next slide, please. And feel free if you have any questions to just type them in and Sarah can kind of link them and get to me later with them. So why are professional networks important for community colleges? Again, it's a great way to learn about full-time teaching positions. So that's how you get to know each other. LinkedIn is a great way to do it. And I'm a American Chemical Society career counselor as well. And LinkedIn is where it's all at right now. My LinkedIn page isn't as great as it could be. I'm still struggling with that, so I need some help. But that's a place to go and meet people and learn about where the positions are. It's a great way to find colleagues who will help you practice. You can practice interviewing, practice writing your cover letter, and just really learn how to land that full-time position. Landing a position at the community college is way different than landing a position at a 4-year tenure track university position. And each community college is a little bit unique as well. I have personally helped a lot of colleagues to get full-time jobs. And we're pretty good at it. I've hired a lot of people, so I know what people are looking for when they're hiring people. Next slide, please. So some colleges have very few teachers in some STEM departments. Laura can probably talk about the math, but I have met people across the country who are the only chemistry faculty on their whole campus, and it may be a very rural campus. I was the only chemistry teacher at my campus. We have 4 campuses that were 25 miles apart, but I was the only chemistry teacher there. So through 2YC3, I met a number of other chemistry teachers, in addition to my PCC colleagues, who provided me support, pedagogy, changes, labs, all kinds of things. And it's wonderful to have that collegial relationship with somebody who has your common goals, your goals in common. And basically, why reinvent the wheel? Throughout this network, I've been able to access the National American Chemical Society Handbook on teaching chemistry at the community colleges. And I used this handbook when I was on my union negotiating team to get us a little bump in our labs, because that's our national standard. And when you use your national standard, I didn't even know it was there until I started getting more involved in my networking. Next slide, please. Some of the things that are really important, and you're probably learning a lot about this, and these are not necessarily a top 10 thing, but they're just sort of random, Kathy's random thinking. You're going to be doing a lot of course assessment techniques, and this is a great place to learn other people's techniques, share and value different tips that are important, learn new pedagogy. I'm sure you've learned about POGIL. I'd like to have you raise your hand, but I can't do that here. POGIL is an interactive way of teaching using team teaching. That's one more formal way of providing a more interactive student-centered classroom. And okay, I'll admit it, when I started teaching many years ago, it was very didactic. Where you stood in front of the classroom, oh, thanks, Ben, and you wrote on the board with your back to the students and you talked. And I swear my organic chemistry teacher could write with one hand and erase with the other. And we don't do that anymore. We engage students. So I would never have learned that without my 2YC3 colleagues and my WCCTA colleagues. We can learn from each other how to increase equity and inclusion in our own fields. I don't feel like I have all the tools in my toolbox to do that by myself. I have to reach out. Professional development, I have to do professional development. Even as an adjunct, I have to continue to do professional development. So this is a great and fun way to do your professional development work. For chemistry, we're always looking for what's a new safe demonstration you can do in your classroom that, you know, gets students excited about being in there. And, you know, we don't really like to blow things up as much people, at least I don't, as much as people think. Collaborative teaching. This is sort of my passion. For example, in my online class, I take my course shell and I combine it with another colleague's course shell. And it's the same content, the same class from a different campus, but we co-teach it. So we divide up the labs we do each week. We know all of the students from both sections, and I get to get a weekend off once in a while because we get to trade off. What days are you going to work? What days are you going to work? And students get the benefit of having someone answering questions 7 days a week. And, you know, which is pretty cool, I think, because most of our students, at least at Portland, tend to work during the week and do their schoolwork on the weekend. So having that online class, I notice most of my students are working between Thursday and Sunday. And then learning about accessibility in course materials, very important thing. And you know, I had to use my attending conferences and learn about, oh, I didn't know I had to do that. So these are the kinds of things you don't even know you need to know them until you do it, until you attend a conference. Next slide, please. I know I'm a little nervous today, so forgive my skips a little bit. So I have made so many wonderful friends through this Aspire grant, through the 2YC3 conferences across the country, the casual laughter, the back of napkin proposals we write, the dinner conversations we have. I have goosebumps. They have made my life, now this is kind of selfish, but they've made my life so rich. And I'm learning from people in a more casual way. Well, you know, you're also a single mom. How did you manage it? Or how did you deal with this when this happened in your family? Or, oh, I'm sorry, your dad passed away. You know, what can I do to help you? And we get together and we care about each other. And that's the networking benefit that really goes unsaid, I think, in a professional way. Following this conference, I have a late afternoon happy hour get together via Zoom with my colleagues from across the country. Another benefit of this whole COVID mess, because we never did that before. And now once or twice a year, we, you know, I shouldn't say once or twice a year, every 2 or 3 months, we'll gather on a Friday afternoon and just find out about who's got new chickens in their backyard. So it's really fun. I think I have one more slide. It's the impact of two-year college chemistry faculty in STEM is undeniable. I just wanted, this is a 2YC3 push. There are 1,500 community colleges in the United States. Most kids take some courses at the community college, and especially now during COVID, we affect the workforce of tomorrow, right now. And we have a hugely diverse population of students. So I just want to say, yay, community colleges. I know you all may not have made up your minds yet, but if you want to know any more information about teaching a science in the community college, don't hesitate to contact me. Networking is chicken soup for the soul. Thank you, Ben. Absolutely true. And anyway, I have a story about that, but that's another networking story. So one of the things about 2YC3, if you ever want to go to their page, we are having teleconferencing software using Zoom. We're having community forums and Zoom seminars so that you can come and join. And for graduate students, it's completely free. So we've had about 100 to 150 attendees in every seminar we've held. So community college teachers are hungry for this. They're hungry for the networking and they're hungry for the knowledge. So consider joining us, just popping in, even if you're not in chemistry, just popping in and see what we're doing. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Professor Carrigan. Thank you for sharing not only your story, but your expertise about the importance of networking and how this has impacted your life, as you mentioned. So
always from my heart. Thank you
so much. Thank you for that. Now we're gonna give space for our next presenter, and I would like to introduce to you Dr. Laura Watkins, who is, like I mentioned, residential faculty for the Mathematics and Computer Science Department at Glendale Community College. And Dr. Watkins is going to talk to us about networking for your future. She is currently a president-elect of the American Mathematical Association of two-year colleges and the principal investigator for the algebra instruction at community colleges. This is one of several grants that she has either directed or participated, and she received her PhD in mathematics, MS in instructional technology, and another MS in mathematics, as well as her BS in mathematics from Utah State University. Glendale Community College, as you can see, there is some information there, and I would like to introduce and welcome Dr. Laura Watkins.
And if I was on top of things, I would have already been muted. Sorry about that. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here. Just a little bit of background about where I teach. Glendale Community College is a member of the Maricopa County Community College District. It's either 1, 2, or 3 largest in the nation at any given time. We have 10 separately accredited colleges spreading throughout the Phoenix metropolitan area. And so when Ben asked and we were told kind of the point, I was like, okay, well, I hope that Kathy and I don't, and I was so pleased when I saw the slides. There might be a slide overlap, but I think we took different perspectives on how to share this idea of networking. And I can remember, so I'm a non-traditional student. I went back to school. I had some college out of high school, but I went back to school in my 30s. I was married, I had 4 children, and I was going to college. So my experience is a little different. And so, I think that really, your experiences contribute to who you are. And I wouldn't be the teacher, the instructor I am now if I hadn't gone along the path that I did. And so as an undergraduate, I did not have graduate school on my radar at all. It was simply one of my favorite instructors stopping me in a hallway, asking me about my future. And I was going to get a job. And he said, well, have you thought about graduate school? I have a project you might be interested in working on. And, that just took me down a completely different path. And I think that was like the central focal point in the network that I've built over the years. Now, I only started teaching in 2002, so at a community college. And so I've been at this is ending my 19th year. So as a graduate student, so when I made that transition, it was a big leap for me and I was a little afraid. And so I think some important aspects of networking that you can work on right now is creating a sense of belonging with you and your fellow colleagues that are in your programs, as well as within this Aspire Alliance effort. Look for ways to collaborate. As simple as I had an office mate in graduate school who in this one class could do the homework in an hour and it would take me 10 hours. And he was just amazing in helping me be successful. And then there were other people where I was able to help them on different coursework. So this idea of collaboration, it's really good to start building that now. And find ways to socialize. That's something that as a mother with a family, I did not do really well. I managed to get together a couple times a semester, but socializing is so important about in building that network, as well as finding ways to build goodwill and trust among your colleagues. Next, please. So ideas on ways that you can grow your network. So be involved. If there's graduate student clubs, next. You can just go through these. Leverage your region. So you'll notice that on the screen there, you've got the map of the Texas Aspire Alliance Collaborative. And notice where El Paso is. And to the left, you see I have a picture of New Mexico. Because at least in the math world, when we collaborate, we think of it, I don't want to offend anybody, but we think of El Paso as being part of New Mexico and Arizona. Because New Mexico, Arizona, and El Paso, we often get together and collaborate and have conferences together. And so work within your region. So you don't necessarily have to be focused on Texas. Think about the Southwest. Shameless plug, the AMATIC conference is in Phoenix in the fall this year. I don't know if there's any possibility for any math people to make it there, but we'd love to have you. So leverage your region, look for opportunities locally, and so help others. That's another thing. I mentioned that with my colleague who was my office mate, great help. I was able to help others with like numerical analysis, because that was more my forte. Real analysis was not. And then reach out to your professors. I was probably very shy and introverted when I was an undergraduate. And that conversation in the hall just kind of flipped a switch. And I started to see my professors more as people rather than this like person, you know, sage on the stage, person at the front of the room. So reaching out to your professors and getting to know them where you can is very important to networking. Next, please. Okay, so now let's talk about what happens as a faculty member. And you can do these things as either an adjunct faculty member or as a full-time faculty member. So the first is to get involved. Now, I'm president-elect of AMATIC. I have, and I'll show her picture at the end of the presentation, my mentor when I arrived on campus. The AMATIC conference was in Phoenix that very first fall I taught. She looped me in right away, got me involved, got my husband involved in helping carrying boxes. Just, you know, get involved with your department, the college, all of that, as many people as you can get to know and have the conversations that Kathy mentioned. Those are, you know, Zoom is great, but these like casual conversations that just pop up and then great ideas are kind of missing that for the last year and a half because of the pandemic. But I'm hopeful that those will come back. Also look for opportunities. So there's a couple pictures there on the right. Those were taken in Monterrey, Mexico. Because of my experiences with AMATIC, I had confidence to apply for a travel grant to go to an international conference. And it was intimidating because I knew there would be leaders in the math field and in math education, and I would be there with them. And I'd only been teaching 6 years, and what did I know, right? But get involved and they'll loop you in. You know, my sense has been that they're always looking to invite more people to be part of the community. Next, please. So specific to AMATIC. So this, on the top you see Project Access. That actually started, it was announced my second year of teaching. I was accepted as a member of cohort 1. And this was a professional development opportunity for 30 new within 3 years, teaching community college mathematics across the nation. And it was amazing. I got to meet 30 new people. And I was new enough that I didn't know that the challenges that I had, my friend in New York City was having the same challenges. I'm like, blew my mind. I'm like, okay, so how do you deal with that? Professional societies, and there's other organizations, there are NSF funded grants, there are various projects nationwide that focus on professional development and helping connect faculty in the STEM disciplines, and often discipline specific, but often cross-disciplinary. And then that banner on the bottom, this is something new for AMATIC as a result of the Aspire Alliance. We've recognized there is a need to start reaching out and building community with graduate students. That's the resource that we're going to be able to tap into to help diversify the two-year college teaching profession. And so starting this summer, we're starting this Project Gains, and there'll be webinars coming out about things like how to navigate finding a full-time job if maybe you're not a US citizen, all kinds of different ideas, doing a job fair, all these kinds of ideas. So get involved, get connected to professional organizations. Next, please. I included this. This came through my email. So you'll find that occasionally you'll get random emails. And this came out, and I don't remember who the original organization was, but you know, read your emails, don't gloss them over. This was a tremendous professional development opportunity for me to provide professional development for Department of Defense education activity teachers. So these are teachers that teach on US military bases. And this was a tremendous opportunity, and it was a collaboration with the University of Texas, Austin, the Charles A. Dana Center. Don't dismiss those like random emails you might get that are looking for people who are interested in various opportunities. Read them a little more carefully. Next, please. And then connect via social media. I imagine that other organizations have a social media presence. AMATIC certainly does, and there's even regional groups. And so I just took a few snapshots of opportunities to connect. Like the one front and center at the top is just a book club, and they're discussing a book, but it's a very informal discussion, and it's open to anybody. So connecting via social media is a great way to find about emerging activities that are not as formal as the annual AMATIC conference, because there's always something going on. Next, please. And then get to know within your region. So I mentioned before, so you see the states there in purple, that is AMATIC's Southwest region. So yeah, we were a little like, Arkansas, okay, yeah, we'll take them in, but I never thought of Arkansas as being the Southwest. But it was more of a balancing act, so one region didn't have so many states. But pictures here of our meetings, and they are just fabulous opportunities to sit down. AMATIC has affiliates in each of those states, and they have their own annual conferences. In Arizona, we actually have 2 a year. We have one in the fall and one in the spring. So there's locally ways that, and I'll tell you, I have a very good friend who teaches at Gateway Community College in our district. She brings her undergraduate math club students to our conferences. So graduate students, undergraduate students, local affiliates of AMATIC would love to have you attending their conferences. And they're very inexpensive, and like 20 bucks. Okay, I tried to advance the slide and I can't. So next, please. Help others. So the picture on the upper right, that's this current board for AMATIC. And we have never met together face to face because of the pandemic. We look forward to hopefully in the fall in Phoenix. But our goal, our charge is to help the organization, help faculty, help their students. So by being active and engaged in your professional organization, you're really helping that effort move forward. So strongly, strongly encourage becoming active in your local organization. Now, the picture on the left is to remind me about Hurricane Katrina. Oh, that's okay. Hurricane Katrina. One of my Project Access fellows from when I went in, and I was cohort 1, Brandy, was teaching at a community college in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and was hit by Hurricane Katrina. Her college was no longer there. No college, no job. I saw her at an AMATIC conference, and I told Brandy, I know that Scottsdale Community College, so one of my sister colleges, has a 1-year only position. If you're looking for a job, let me take you and introduce you to the department chair. So I took her, introduced her, they had and I left it, they had a conversation, and lo and behold, she comes to Scottsdale Community College, is there for a year, and then we hire her at Glendale, and she was there for 5 years, until she went back to Houston to be close to family. So there's a lot of ways that networking will allow you to help others in maybe slightly, maybe smaller ways, but also in very large ways. Next. And then reach out to your colleagues. I'm trying to watch the time. Gentleman with me on the left, that's Patrick Kamani. He came to our college brand new. I said, Patrick, would you like to join in a research group grant we had? He said, yes. Finish that out, we get a new grant. He helps with that. This picture on the right, 3 of those people in between the 2 of us agreed to be participants in our algebra grant. They allowed us to videotape their classrooms. They allowed us to, I mean, we weren't super intrusive, but that is intrusive a little bit to go into somebody's classroom and videotape them. So, and we honor them for that. So reach out to your colleagues. They can help, you can help them. They can help you in so many ways. Next, please. And as a result, our research groups down here on the bottom, on the right, on the left, YOLO, you only live once. Because of these collaborations, I was able to go present at a conference in Pretoria, South Africa. It's been 1.5 years ago. That's why I love this YOLO. It's actually a yogurt stand, but you just really don't know where these opportunities are going to take you. So stay connected and reach out to colleagues whenever you're interested in something. Next, please. So lastly, these are the people that have just helped me on my journey, have helped me with where I've come. My department, good friends, previous presidents of AMATIC encouraging me. And notice one of my favorite books, Oh, the Places You Will Go. If you network, I mean, the world is your oyster. You can go so many places and do so many things. And thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Watkins. That was great. Thank you for sharing again, like with Professor Carrigan, the stories of how networking brings you and elevates the work that we do every day, not only for our students, but for our own development, personal and professional. So we are right on time to take our session breakout for today and discuss some of the information provided. So what are the challenges? These are just prompts so you can start your conversation. Think about the challenges of building a professional network at this point of your emerging career as educators. And why is networking central to community college teaching, which is non-research focused among other differences from a 4-year institution. In the end, remember that we will be aligned on your CV as recipients of the Aspire Fellowship, but as Dr. Watkins and Professor Carrigan, you can see they are from different systems, different institutions, different states, and still we are all connected in this bigger web of interaction that allows us to do things like the one we're doing today. So even if we are just a line on your CV, we will have opened certain doors and certain ideas so you can start building these networks and these webs of professional development. So without anything else, I will, as you know, see you in a few minutes. I'll send you a notification when we are halfway in our time. Please open your mics and your cameras and have fun. I will see you in about 10 to 15 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Faces, people.
We're back.
Reality. Hello. Well, I hope you all had fun and had an opportunity to address your concerns, share some comments, and talk in a smaller setting with some of your peers, mentors, and our speakers, and of course, our team leaders who are also present. So before we adjourn, we have some closing remarks by Dr. Flores. So all yours, Dr. Flores.
You always put me on the spot, don't you? That's fine, Sarah. What I want to say is that professional networking is absolutely essential in our careers. No matter what steps you take in whatever direction you go, you will always have to engage with colleagues, and knowing how to nurture that network is extremely important. You know, you're going to develop meaningful relationships, friendships that may last for life. So it's important to get started sooner rather than later. Okay. Everybody benefits from these relationships. Not only do they enrich your life in your career, but it also allows you to get much needed support when you need it. And also it opens doors. And I couldn't be happier to have Professors Carrigan and Watkins as collaborators of Aspire. Every time we get together, I think we've gotten together probably at least 2 or 4 times in the DC area, and getting their input, you know, in their insight as to how community colleges work has allowed me also to grow professionally. So I want to thank them. I also want to thank them for joining us today and making this webinar possible. And it's important for all of our students to know that developing those professional networks start somewhere. You never know where it's going to start, you know, whether you're going to be invited to a meeting over in the capital of the United States or in the capital of Texas or the capital of Arizona, right? The important thing is that you don't stay in your hotel room. You go mingle, you have a nice conversation, start talking to people, and before you know it, you will have added a few people to your network. And that's all I have for today. I know that there's some items that need to be worked on, and Clara, I'll give it back to you.
Agni, do we have any pressing reminders, any comments before we adjourn?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so we'll
And
do
the
a few
deliverables.
reminders. Okay, thanks, Agni. We'll do a few reminders over email. So please keep an eye on that because we do have a few things to address. We are just waiting for a closing ceremony, but in preparation for that, we have a few things that we would like to have you receive or pick up from the office, but we will make arrangements for that. And thank you for your time today. Thank you especially to our speakers whose information is on this slide. And as you know, as soon as we finish, I will upload a copy of the presentation on the resources in Blackboard and the recording or the YouTube link as well. If you have a chance, subscribe to the channel so you can get those videos up and going. So Dr. Watkins, thank you so much for your time. Professor Carrigan, thank you for sharing your stories and your expertise. And thank you to all of our mentors in attendance, to our team, and of course to you, our fellow students, because you are the reason that we do what we do. And have a great weekend. We will see you in 2 weeks. Please keep an eye on your email. And don't forget to upload your pending deliverables because today is the official deadline for your final portfolio. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great afternoon and a better weekend. Stay safe.
Question,
Goodbye.
Sarah.
Thanks,
Quick
everyone.
question. Oh,
Thank you,
bye, everyone.
Yes, Jason, I'll stay on.
Okay.